Now, where it gets really interesting and where I like it is to look at growth rates. Staying with the internet example, if we look at the Middle East, it has the highest internet usage growth rate across all the regions of the world, over 1,600% growth rate between 2000 and 2009. One other important thing when looking at the Middle East is to look at the structure of the society. The Middle East, as is described within the area, it is called mujtama' fati. What that means is that it's a youthful society. 2/3 of the Middle East are young people under the age of 29 years old. This is significant because they're not only the majority, but they're also defying the patriarchal nature of the society by knowing how to use the internet, by knowing how to use the cell phone, by knowing that they grew up in an environment where they could use their remote control to choose from over 300 satellite TV channels. This is important because we're looking at consumers of news, consumers of media, but it's also changing the structure of the society. It's changing newsroom culture in that area, because if you want to compete in the world, if you want to follow these innovations, you need to bring young people in. They don't come in only with the know-how of technology, they come in with the new ideas. So there's a reform on that end. I think that motivations to use, especially media, are very different. One of the most recent studies that I actually analyzed the results last night, where we collected data from the United States and Palestine. And it was focused on seeing how the motivation for using Facebook differs. Stories are completely different. For example, American students reported having much more friends than Palestinians. However, Palestinians showed that they spent much more time on Facebook. When it gets really interesting is the motivations, where American students highly evaluate the social connection aspect, connecting with people they've met offline, connecting with old friends and so forth. These things were not as significant to Palestinians. What was significant is playing games, playing on Farmville, and doing quizzes and so forth. I'd like to end with 2 points that might steer the discussion later on. It would be interesting in the next 10 or 20 years to look at how government control of, most of the media in the Middle East is government owned. So it would be really interesting to look whether this government ownership would A, fade away, or make it much smoother for a technological transfer to the new technology. The second area that I'd like to focus on is sometimes we need to chill and breathe, because the threats that we face in the United States may not well be in other regions of the world. If we look at newspaper readership, well, in the Middle East, we start with the baseline of low readership anyways. So is this a real threat, or is there a different type of threat?